I know we don't have any signs up outside, but this is CrossFit Pursuit. This is where we all train out of. I had a workout this morning at like 10 o'clock. We got done a little after 11, didn't have time to go home. You guys all look very nice. Please don't judge me or think, I'm not like dressed up today or whatever, but I just finished working out. But anyway, so thank you so much for coming today. I hope this is going to be information that you guys all will be helpful to you. It's something I'm very passionate about. I know that just even people that don't work out or aren't athletes, everyone needs to have good nutrition. So it's important for everybody, kids all the way up through adults, just like anything. So it's something I'm very passionate about. I work in the medical field and I also train here in the gym, and between the two, it correlates into all areas. So it's just really important to get the information out there so people can't say, well, I never heard, I didn't know. So thank you all for coming today. So just a little bit about myself. Anytime I go to like a medical conference and you hear a speaker, the speaker stands up here and says, just what all his qualifications are, so you know where they're coming from. And of course they list any like biases they may have, which I don't think I have any biases. I'm not getting paid by anybody to be here to promote what I'm going to promote today, so you don't have to worry about that. But I am a certified physician assistant. I did get my master's degree in medicine from Western Michigan University. And I got my undergraduate degree down at Lee University in Tennessee in biology. So I had to take courses such as like cell biology, microbiology, which plays a role into what foods do in your body. So that's kind of where my basis started there. And then of course, with my experience in orthopedics, family practice, occupational medicine, and now I work in ear, nose, and throat. So kind of got a broad range of experience across a lot of fields of medicine. I also am one of the instructors here at CrossFit Pursuit. I've been to the level 1 certification, where's the main beginner certification, and then once you finish that, there's other certifications you can go to. So I'm certified in Olympic lifting, gymnastics, and mobility. Back in 2011, I competed in the CrossFit Regional Games, which is regional games in the whole Central East region. I think it's composed of Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee at that time. Anyway, I placed 5th in 2011. I've been at the regional games 2010 through 2012. Just so you know where I'm coming from as far as my personal experience is, I personally work out about 5 days a week. When I was training really hard for the games, it was probably 2 hours plus a day. However, over this last year, I'm not typically training anymore for the games because I realized my life is just so busy. So I work about class time for about an hour a week, 5 days a week. And I strictly adhere to the zone diet, which is what I'm going to talk to you about today. And I just put this in because I didn't want people to think that cheat meals are okay. You can sometimes have meals where you can pig out and eat whatever you want to. Rob and I work with her, and she knows kind of what my habits are. So anyway, so that's just a little bit about myself. So I've got the medical background, I kind of got the athlete background, so all of that kind of combined, I think qualifies me to be able to talk about nutrition and the zone diet and what I use to be where I'm at. Alright, so as you guys all know, obesity is one of the fastest growing epidemics in America. I even think it's generational, As I see kids in my ear, nose, and throat office, there are some very, very obese kids that come in now. You're talking, they're 130 pounds and they're 6 years old. I saw one last week. And then you look at the parent, and the mom's huge, So this is something that's passed down generationally, and it's definitely causing major, major health concerns in the United States and worldwide. People who are obese have an increased risk of arthritis, especially I think of knee arthritis really bad because when people are really overweight, your knees were not designed to carry the weight that people have. Your knees, when people say people are big boned, that's no such thing. Bones are just bones. Everyone has the same size of bones. Now you might have a bigger frame, but your knees or your joints were not made to carry around excess weight like people do. So it's very hard on them. It starts damaging cartilage. It starts causing degenerative joint disease, and you don't no longer have space between your joints, which can lead to severe joint pain, which then leads to like joint replacements and surgery, and then people aren't able to move around as much. Let me go back to the next slide. Diabetes, that's a huge one, and I'm going to touch on that When people are obese, they have lots of sugar going on in their blood, which leads to diabetes. When excess sugars in your blood, it starts affecting your vascular system. So your capillaries, your arteries and veins that provide all the blood and nutrients and food for your cells, all that sugar is going to get in there and clog all those up and not have those function anymore, so you're not going to get blood. So when you see sometimes diabetics that have the amputations on their toes or see them kind of the knees, fingers, that's because their circulation is no longer there anymore because the sugar has totally killed all their circulation there. So that's where that comes into play. And I'm kind of trying to simplify things. I don't think we get really interested in going into like the nitty-gritty medical stuff. So anyways, heart disease, as you guys all know. I do want to tell you that this is interactive. So if you don't have a question, you can stop me, raise your hand. You don't have to wait till the end to ask a question. So you can stop me whenever you don't understand something. Of course, when you're obese, heart disease, that's pretty self-explanatory. Your heart is a muscle. Your heart has to work when you are 300 pounds. Your heart doesn't increase in size to take care of that 300 pounds. Okay? You have the same heart. So your heart is working extra hard to take care of this 300 pounds. You can just think of it as a muscle, so it's going to just pump. That leads to heart disease. The bad nutrition that you put into your body can clog up your arteries, which then puts added pressure on your heart because your heart can't function the way it's supposed to. High blood pressure, just like when your heart's pumping blood out, it has to fight. It has to get more blood out to feed this whole big 300-pound body. Okay? So that's why your blood pressure goes up. It's because the heart's trying to pump to take care of this body, and that's why your blood pressure goes up. And it has to fight going through all those arteries and veins that are clogged up. Your heart has to fight to get that. Just like when you have like a clogged pipe in your drain, you have to increase your water pressure to get that clogged through. That's the same thing that's going on in your arteries and veins. Sleep apnea, that's getting on the rise now. I see that a lot where I'm working at now. That's a lot of time caused by obesity and overweight. And a lot of times, sleep apnea is directly proportional to the fat that's sitting around your neck. Because as you're laying down, the fat around your neck just collapses your airway down, causes you not to get the oxygen you need, which leads to sleep apnea. If you don't get oxygen, your brain doesn't function, bottom line. Your body can't function. So it actually hinders the brain. Some cancers and stroke, because you're obese, some cancers are affected by it, and also stroke. And stroke related to the heart disease too is that your arteries and your brain and stuff get clogged, which gets your blood can't go to your brain anymore, which causes a stroke. So, next slide. What causes obesity? Medical research, especially over probably the last 10 years, I would say, has really led to obesity equals too much carbohydrates in our diet. 10 years ago, or maybe more, I'm guessing, it used to be the low-fat diet was huge. Oh, if you eat less fat, you'll lose weight. That was actually so far false that when people tried to practice that actually led to more obesity. So what medical research is showing now is that what contributes to weight gain and therefore obesity is too much carbohydrates. I should say bad carbohydrates, the processed carbohydrates. If you think about a grocery store, any processed carbohydrate, if you shop around the outside of the store, so you go through the fruits, veggies, you go meats and cheeses and milk, all that stuff, all that fresh food, that's not processed. All the stuff in the aisles, processed carbohydrates, anything in boxes, anything, the sugar, the flour, anything. And even when it says whole grain, guys, that's still processed carbohydrates. That's kind of a myth. And I'm wondering, I don't have any research to back this up. So this is just my personal opinion. You know, the whole big thing, the whole grains that people are coming out, I'm wondering if that's all backed by like the wheat growers that are like the lobbyists that have kind of wanted to promote their products, you know? And so the government is on board to promote that because there's money involved. I don't know, it just kind of makes me wonder. But anyway, so if you have increased carbohydrates, that's linked to cellular inflammation, which can also not only make us obese, but athletes that are out here in the audience, they can also decrease our physical performance too. If you have too much inflammation in your body, your muscles can't perform the way it should, and therefore you're not going to see gains in strength and endurance anymore. All right, so this is the kind of nerdy stuff. If Nate was up okay? Because it's the quickest way it can instantly give you energy, which is why, like say, Navy SEALs, for instance, they are in freezing cold water, they need energy fast, they're going to drink something really high in carbohydrate, you know, like a really, I don't know what they drink, but like a concentrated Gatorade or some sort of simple sugar, because that gets energy into your blood system fast. So if you're in one of those life and death situations, you need energy, you're going to turn right to carbohydrates. The body prefers that to give energy fast. However, so it'll break down any glucose, any sugar, to give fuel to our body cells, and that's what the body prefers. But when you have too much carbohydrates, when all of this is breaking down and all you have in your blood is sugar, what happens is you need, sugar's in blood, you need a hormone to get that sugar into your cells so the cells can use it for energy. So that's where insulin comes in, okay? So you've got lots of sugar in your blood just floating around. The cells cannot use it until insulin makes it go into the cells. Insulin is the hormone that drives the sugar into the cells. So, if you have increased sugar in your body, all you need is carbohydrates, you constantly have sugar in your blood, it's going to cause your pancreas is the organ that creates the insulin, it's going to cause your pancreas to work really, really hard to keep producing more insulin, so it can go from the blood into your cells. You don't want sugar just to remain in your bloodstream because it's very, very toxic. It's going to be toxic, just like I talked about the diabetics that lose their fingers, lose their toes. That's because their blood is constantly saturated in sugar. Okay? So it's going to start tearing down your bodies, basically. That's not the way that God created your body to work. So, the more sugar you have, the more you're forcing your pancreas to create more insulin. Now, when your pancreas creates more insulin, that's great, it can take care of it, but to a point, you're going to kill your pancreas off. And that's where people that say they're type 2 diabetics, that's what's happened, is they've had so much sugar, their pancreas has created so much insulin to get it out of the blood that it can't create any more, and your pancreas basically ends up shutting down, dying. And once that happens, you can't get a new pancreas. You can't get, it's dead, it's done, you know? So, chronic elevated sugar levels in the blood, I talked about this earlier. What happens is it constantly coats everything in your blood. That's what glycosylation is. It coats everything and becomes toxic. I was thinking about examples to tell you guys, and just like when you pour, say you have some sugar Kool-Aid, you pour that, you let it dry, you know how sticky that is everywhere, and it's so hard to clean up? Think about that in your blood. Your blood is really sticky and it's coating everything, and nothing's being able to clean up. So it can lead to chronic disease, which I went back to before when we talked about diabetes, the heart disease, the stroke, all that, and it'll lead to inflammation. Because now that everything's coated, the body tries to react like that, the body tries to react to everything that's coated, and it tries to fix it somehow, so it releases all these inflammation factors, which it's trying to help, but actually that just causes more harm than good. Next slide.
When you say sugars, like, and you use an example like Kool-Aid, you don't mean just like white sugar. It could be...
No, all carbohydrates break down into sugar. All carbohydrates break down into sugar. So it's not just the white sugar, it's not... fruit breaks down into sugars, vegetables break down into sugars, bread, pasta, rice, anything breaks down into sugar. So, after all that, now I'm probably getting into what you guys are really here for, talking about the zone diet. I practice the zone diet faithfully. I've done it for probably 3 years, ever since I started CrossFit. Honestly, CrossFit is not really what's made me look like this the most. I mean, yeah, it's built my muscles, so my muscles are bigger because of CrossFit, but to get lean, it was my diet change. It was my diet change. It was all diet. Like when people say they want six-pack abs, you don't have to do more ab work, you don't have to do more exercise, you need to change your diet. Your muscles can get strong underneath, but when fat covers it all, you don't see it. So when you want to get leaned out, you need to change your diet. And that's what I like about Zone. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. I think this is, once you get the hang of how it works, I think it's very, very, very easy to follow and to stick with, because you can go out to eat and kind of know what you can eat. Any restaurant. We go out to eat all the time, you know, and I can look at a menu and kind of know, and it's not going to be absolutely perfect, but it's going to keep you in the ballpark, you know, and it's just, like if you want to have French fries, you can have French fries. It's on the list. I'll show you guys the list in a second. So anyways, it's just, I think it's pretty easy to stick to. So basically it's based on these three, they're called macronutrients. Your body needs all of these things to function, okay? It needs protein, a Some fruits. You want to avoid grains because those are the processed carbohydrates, which we already talked about. You want to pick the carbs that are the low glycemic index. And I'll talk about glycemic index in just a minute. The fat. You want low in saturated fats. Saturated fats are linked to, if anyone's familiar, I know Jess is going to get your blood work done, LDL cholesterol. LDL cholesterol is linked to saturated fats. You want that number to stay low. So you want your saturated fats to go low. The unsaturated fats, that's what makes your good cholesterol, your HDL levels, to go high. So having fats that are high in unsaturated is actually good for your body. That makes your good cholesterol go up. Omega-3 fats are probably the best unsaturated fats. Those work really well. I've given them to patients to make their good cholesterol go up, their HDL levels. And it works. It'll make their total cholesterol numbers go down as well. It's been shown in studies to reduce the inflammation on a cellular level. So it reduces the inflammatory factors that link with cholesterol in your arteries and veins that get them all clogged up. It's going to help remove that. The best fat choices are the ones that are high in omega-3s. And I do want to put a little link in. If I have time, I might talk about it later. But omega-3 fish oil is extremely, you can supplement. I don't know if your doctors have ever told you guys, but anyone who wants to get their cholesterol down, you can supplement with fish oil, omega-3 fish oils. I think it's about 1 to 2 grams a day to get your cholesterol and general inflammation down, okay? In athletes, if you want to get inflammation, like you're talking muscle inflammation from workouts, if you want to get down, you have to do higher doses, about 3 to 4 grams a day, which you might have to take, if you get the triple strength fish oil, it's about, you're taking 4 pills a day, maybe 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. Or 2 in the evening. But anyway, so I just want to kind of put that in. That's where athletes say they supplement with fish oil. TJ, I don't know if you hear people say that, but that's what they're doing is getting inflammation down. So the dose is 3 to 4 grams per day for that. If you're just worried about your cholesterol levels, it's about 1 to 2 grams per day. Next slide. All right, so here's where I'm going to talk about glycemic index, and this really is where the whole zone diet is based on. Glycemic index is how the measure of a food's propensity to raise blood sugar. So, if it has a high glycemic index, as you can see by this chart here, if it has a high glycemic index, that means it's going to really spike your blood sugar when your body starts digesting it, okay? Just like the Gatorade I told you about when the Navy SEALs use it, that would have extremely high GI because it'll get energy just like that for you. So, the higher glycemic index, the more that there's going to be sugar levels in your blood. So the more sugar levels in your blood, the more insulin that your pancreas is going to create. So ideally, if you want to save your pancreas, if you want to save all the toxicity to your cells, you want to stay with carbohydrates that have a lower glycemic index because it won't put out all that sugar into your system. Yes?
Question on insulin.
Yes.
So insulin helps your body to use the energy, but if it's maxed that out, let's say I have, let's say I eat 4 donuts. Obviously my body can't use that 4 donuts worth of sugar.
Right.
So the insulin then takes that and stores it as fat,
Yes.
and that's where we get the belly fat and all that,
Yes.
because it's too much.
Yes.
It has no place.
Yes. You know when I talked about the low-fat diet, everyone thought, low fat, so then you don't get stores of fat. That was completely wrong. What the body does is stores excess sugar into your fat cells, and that's how your fat cells get larger. So you want to shrink your fat cells, you want to lose your carbohydrates. It's not the fat that does that. So fat can actually come out through your bowel movements, actually, with an enzyme called lipase that breaks it down. But sugar gets stored in fat. Good question.
So you have a fatty bowel movements then?
The greasy ones sometimes come out. All right. So Everything is zone is completely blocked. So forget calories, forget anything else, points, whatever. You're thinking blocks here. 1 block of protein is 1 ounce. So they say usually a normal serving of meat is about the palm of your hand. That's about 4 ounces. So 4 ounces of protein would be 4 blocks of protein. 1 block of carbohydrate is 9 grams. And you also always want to take the total carbohydrates. If you look at the label, you always want to take the total carbohydrates minus the fiber. Yeah. Minus the fiber, okay? And that's going to help you out a lot, actually, you'll be able to eat more. So you always want to remember to subtract the fiber out of there. And then 1 block of fat is 1.5 grams. So it doesn't matter, like when I said, when you choose what protein you're going to eat for the day, you don't really, I said that you want low unsaturated fat. You don't have to, most of the time, think about any fat that meat has in it. You're really just measuring out the additional fat that you're putting into your meal, okay? And that would be more, you'll understand what I'm talking about in a little bit. Next slide. Now we're going to talk about men. I'm just going to say the average male. If someone just came up to me real quick and they said, well, how many blocks should I eat? I would start any guy off, and I say I think you should have 14 blocks per day, okay? So what this means is, he has 3 4-block meals. So for breakfast, he'll have 4 blocks of protein, which means 4 ounces of protein. 4 blocks of carbs, which means 9 grams per block, so 36 grams in the meal for his breakfast, and then he'll have 4 blocks of fat. So this ends up, so really you're just counting like, they consider this a 4-block meal. Okay, that's a 4-block meal. So he's going to have 3 4-block meals. So he's going to have 4-block breakfast, 4-block lunch, 4-block dinner. He's going to have, usually they recommend doing snacks at about late afternoon and maybe after supper. Depends when you get hungry. That's going to be a 1-block snack. So a snack is going to be 1 block of protein. For example, 1 string cheese is 1 block of protein. 1 block